who knows what our children will have as our crazy busy world keeps on evolving. But the Children's Museum world evolves with it. Hopefully it's a beautiful, engaging place for children for the future generations.
Thanks for joining us on Louisiana's Playground Podcast, your roadmap to all things Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'm Brady Raynard.
And I'm Jillian Corder, and we're excited to bring you the authentic stories and experiences of Southwest Louisiana with all the tools that you need to build your own personal Lake Charles itinerary.
Episode 66 of the show, and to be honest with you, I think probably
You didn't say episode 66.
Execute episode 66.
Good job.
Thank you. So we're actually not eliminating all the Jedi this episode.
Nope.
Despite that little Easter egg there. No, this is one of the most anticipated episodes that we've honestly had here on the podcast.
Yes. We are talking Port Wonder.
Same time. Oh my God, we finish each other's
sandwiches.
Yes.
I'm so excited to talk about Port Wonder. I'm so excited to get in there, get the kids in there. It's going to be such a fan favorite for everybody in town.
And it is so close to finally opening the doors.
That's right.
Great conversation. Before we get to that, another kind of under the radar little spot is where we'll head for On V Eats.
This week we went to Bayou Boards by Gabrielle. It opened in August of 2020, which we talked about was a really tough time to start a business.
For sure.
Was right there in the height of COVID, and it was just
Winter
before
storms
it was just before the hurricanes here. So it's a really tough time to get their business going. Yet I think they found just their niche thing, right?
Sure.
They found their audience really quickly here in Lake Charles. So it all started out as just charcuterie boards, and everybody loves a good charcuterie board. They're beautiful, and anytime you have a party or something like that. But then came, years later in 2024, came the dine-in experience.
Mm-hmm.
They have a really fun menu, really unique flavors paired together.
Sure.
I don't know, just really interesting, fresh ingredients.
Yeah, and catering is still a huge portion of what they do. The dine-in is now like part 2, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a cool little, like renovated, it looks like maybe at one time was a house or like a school building or some type of...
it's clearly like a historic building.
Sure,
it's got the brick on the outside and the huge windows.
Very charming.
Really cool spot.
Yeah, for sure. And they've kind of redid that portion there. And in fact, their whole story is kind of cool about how Gabrielle actually thought of this idea and how her and her husband kind of came to say, you know what, let's do this. Very, very short story with it is they were eating outside of the Sistine Chapel while traveling abroad.
Wow.
And had essentially a charcuterie board made for them based off where they're from. And it just struck a chord in her. Mm-hmm. And it really gave her the inspiration to do all of this. In fact, our friends with Audit Media kind of did that video on their website if you want to check it out. Very, very cool story. And to bring that here is awesome because the boards are custom made.
Yeah.
For what you want, whether you want it sweet, spicy, maybe you want something else, something more nuts, more fruit, whatever. They have a bunch of different options. And then the dine-in menu is more sandwiches and flatbreads and a little bit of the charcuterie stuff.
Sure. Charcuterie, like just real quick, a note here. When you're headed to a party and you're thinking of a charcuterie board, just let the professionals do it. So I decided I was going to make my own one time for a party, right? And then you end up spending so much on all the individual little things, and then you have way too much prosciutto or way too many black olives or whatever it might be. And really just let Gabrielle handle it for you.
Yeah, you're spending.
You end up spending like 3 times as much. Attempting to do it at home. Like this is one of those things. Don't DIY it. Just like let the professionals handle it.
It's one of my favorite memes that I've seen recently, where it's like, why would I spend $30 for birria tacos at a restaurant when I can make a worse version for $60 at home?
Exactly. That's exactly it. So, but the stuff they put together is not just taste amazing, but it's beautiful to look at too. So same goes for their food though when you order in.
Right. So we opened with the appetizer of the loaded hummus.
Yep.
Which is a creamy texture of like hummus, and they've got fresh flavors from the garden vegetables, olives and herbs. They drizzle it with some olive oil, of course, garnish with feta and paprika, and they serve it with cucumbers, sweet peppers, and some really, really good pita chips that I almost think they didn't appear on the plate because the second that I looked down at them, they were all gone.
All the chips were gone. Yeah. It was really good. You're going to hear me say so many times how fresh everything was. But that, you take a big scoop of it, and I try to get a little bit of everything on each bite. It just tasted so fresh. It's one of those dishes that makes you open your eyes a little bit wider. The feta cheese on top was like this bright element to the dish. It was really good. We were there with some friends, and everyone took part in the hummus. Delicious.
Very much so. And so highly recommend, obviously, the hummus because, like you said, the freshness of it is what shines the most, where every bite you feel, you feel right eating it. Like you feel good.
Yeah, you feel healthy when you're eating it. It does something.
You don't even have to go to the gym. You could skip the gym.
Something happens when you're eating it, and it feels like, oh, this is, I don't know, my body and my brain like this. Sure. This is good for me. And it just tastes really, really good. Everything the just melts together perfectly. Same thing was happening on the sandwich I ordered. I got the sweet heat Gouda sandwich. We're talking turkey, smoked Gouda, arugula tomato, mayo, this in-house raspberry chipotle jam, which you put any kind of jam on any kind of sandwich for me and I'm all in. This is all on toasted ciabatta.
Raspberry chipotle is my jam.
That is my jam. It's on toasted ciabatta. It's just really yummy. And like I said, fresh. The turkey feels like it was just, freshly cut, and the mayo, the arugula tomato, it all just feels like it's, I don't know. Like that mayo was just picked straight from the vine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything.
I remember the mayo tree in our backyard.
Everything feels harmoniously blended on the sandwich. It feels like it's just like right with nature. All is
like
well in the world.
A harp is playing right behind you.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's very good. Familiar flavors. But in a new combination. So the raspberry chipotle jam on turkey with this smoked cheese. All of these different elements. You've just maybe never had it all in this way together.
Sure. And I got one that caught my interest, despite actually not having like a protein on it, which is rare for me not to have a protein with it.
You're normally like the meat lover.
Yeah. Blueberry goat flatbread. So it's a flatbread.
Sounds so strange. Tastes so good.
Yeah, it's a flatbread that's smeared with blueberry, vanilla, goat cheese, blackberries, and then they garnish it with fresh mint. So they're like blackberries are kind of probably almost
like a
mortar and pestle, right?
Like
to create like
blackberry.
almost a jam within itself, right? Or not quite as thin as a compote, but somewhere in between those two. And they garnish it with a little bit of fresh mint, some lemon zest, and then finish it off with a drizzle of hot honey. So the way I describe it is that it tastes almost like you're eating a fruit-covered pancake.
Okay.
The blueberry, blackberry, it's so strong in like the perfect way, right? Like that fresh fruit flavor. Yeah. The goat cheese doesn't add a ton of flavor more than it adds that creamy, cheesy gooiness.
It does have so much flavor though. Goat cheese is one of those things that it's either a big hit or
like
a big miss,
it's a creamy flavor is what I'm saying. It's not a sharp flavor. The
consistency's great. But also don't let goat cheese scare you.
No.
So if you're not a fan of it on other dishes, don't let that sway you from not ordering this or trying it, because I'm not a huge fan of goat cheese usually. But when I had a bite of yours, I wanted more. The combination with it and the blueberries and the blackberries, it just, I don't know. it just did something different. It created a whole different thing.
You get a little bit of tartness. You get that real sweet. Then the mint adds a completely different flavor profile that kind of pops really hard there. And I think what's cool about it, it doesn't always happen this way, but each ingredient does something different and shines. There's no wasted ingredients on it.
Sure. They're not just throwing...
Even the hot honey at the end, you don't really get a lot of heat, but it works. It adds another little element that wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right? And so we talk often about great dishes typically hits every sense, every taste sense, if you will.
Yeah.
And this one does, whether it be hot, sweet, umami, tart, like all of those things hit with this, and it was great.
Yeah, and that's the same with the sandwich that I had. I feel like it just kind of, each little note was there. And it just was a unique experience too. This is my first time eating there. I love the look of the place. It's really cute to go to. It's right in the heart of downtown. It's a really fun place, especially to grab some quick lunch, something like that. And like I said, you can't go wrong on this menu. I really believe that. You just can't go wrong. It's going to hit every one of your senses, like Brady said. Great spot.
Yeah, and just like you said, off Ryan Street and Lock Park, which is one of our great park systems, kind of tying into the whole Port Wonder, right? And the kids, like you bring your kids into Port Wonder, it's a great park to go maybe after or before, and then swing by here right after. So all of those things work harmoniously as well. So a great spot, and I think great for many different things, from an event that you need catered or just a quick, healthy lunch during the week. From a great meal to a great guest, we welcome on Allyson Montgomery. She's been working at the Children's Museum now for 19 years, starting as an assistant director, and she's worn all of the hats, and now she's the executive director of the Children's Museum. She's been involved with the Port Wonder project since its beginning some 15 years ago, finally seeing it come to fruition, and is good enough to join us on the podcast to talk about all the exciting offers Port Wonder will bring to Lake Charles. Welcome to the show, Allyson.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited about this conversation too. First, though, we like to let our listeners get to know you a little bit better and how you play in Louisiana's playground. So we've got a few rapid fire questions for you.
I'm all for it.
Okay, number one is crawfish or gumbo?
Crawfish.
Is it just because it's crawfish season right now?
No, I love crawfish. I am not a big rice person. I know.
Wow.
It's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Are you sure you're from
your
here?
Louisiana card will be...
might be revoked.
I mean, I eat rice, of course, and I know how to cook rice and gravy and
Right.
all of that. And of course I cook gumbo, but I don't know, just something about boiled crawfish, or I even love doing the French bread with the crawfish etouffee smothered over it.
Sure.
Yes. Oh
Those
my
are all
gosh.
good. Can I be honest? I think I prefer potatoes over rice a little bit too.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take any
my
carb.
great-grandfather was an Irish immigrant.
Okay.
And whenever we did our family tree and our ancestry stuff,
It's
I
in your
even
blood.
did the DNA thing. All of both my dad's side of the family and my mom's side of the family are all Northern European.
Interesting.
High percentages on Northern European on both sides.
Somewhere down the line, you and I are related.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
We definitely are. like 47% Irish. So that's fun stuff. Okay. So number two is poolside or beachside. That's a tough one, I know.
That is really tough. I burn because I'm so fair complected.
Again, the
Irish.
Yes, the Irish,
Northern
the
European.
Northern European. I love the sounds of the beach and
Yeah.
water, but I also don't like water that I can't see the bottom of. So I love
Understood.
being on the beach and I love the look of the beach, but I only like the beach whenever it's not 90 degrees.
Yeah. Okay. And you like to be water adjacent, not necessarily in it.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes.
Got
Makes
it.
sense.
Last question though, concert or comedy show?
Oh, definitely concert.
Okay. Oh, she's making a face. Not big on the stand-up comedy.
No offense to comedians out there. Y'all are amazing people, but I don't know. I just never have been into comedians. Whenever you You Got Talent shows or America's Got Talent is on and the comedians come on, it's just kind of like, Sorry, Brady.
She's only there for the musicians. Only
Or
there
the
for the music.
like I like all the other acts, dancing.
Look, I get it.
and
Some
all
people just don't like to laugh. I get
No,
it.
I love to laugh. I laugh a lot.
You heard it here
but,
first. Allyson Montgomery can't take a joke. She's not.
I like in-person jokes. But
Okay.
I just
Yeah. Okay, got it. Concerts. Good thing Southwest Louisiana can offer many of those. We just went and heard Gladys Knight the other day, a few weeks ago. That was
love
fantastic.
I'm a Motown fan too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, it was so good. The Pips were on fire, man. It was awesome.
So let's pivot now to the conversation, which I think everyone is listening to hear about. Port Wonder, the highly anticipated opening, is finally here. What does this moment mean to the community?
Oh my goodness. I don't even know how to put it in words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to describe how excited I am, because excited is like not even, it doesn't even touch how much it means to me to be able to share this project with all the kids. It's not anything that you would expect to see in Southwest Louisiana and Lake Charles. It is a magnificent building with state-of-the-art exhibits and projects. We took a lot of everybody's old favorites from our previous facility and amplified them, reimagined them, and put them into new concepts. It's just a magical place where no matter if you are 2 years old or 92 years old, you can walk in and just feel like a child again.
Mm-hmm.
And experience the wonder and the creativity and just the excitement and all of the learning that gets put, behind all of the different exhibits within that. You're learning stuff, but you don't realize that you're learning.
Yeah.
So.
And I wanted to talk, before we get into the details of the museum, I think it's important to look at, I feel like when we're going to look back in 10 or so years and see Port Wonder as such an asset, but as a catalyst for what the lakefront will become.
Oh, most definitely.
It feels like it's that first swing of the sword, right?
Yeah.
That becomes something so much bigger and probably shapes our identity for the next 25, 30 years.
In working at the museum for 19 years, we've always had tourists come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that locals don't think of Southwest Louisiana as a very touristy spot. We have so many people that even if they're not visiting Lake Charles for their actual vacation destination, they stop while they're getting from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And people would always ask, what is there for families around this area? And I always took the time to make sure that I knew what was going on with all of our festivals and special events. I've always been friends with everybody at Visit Lake Charles and, social media and the media, KPLC. So I've always paid attention to what festival we had next weekend or the weekend after. And I always am like, we have Putt-Putt and Petro Bowl.
Yeah.
There's things at the mall. Now we have Lake Erie Adventures and Urban Air. But it really is a family destination place. Yes, we have the casinos. Yes, we have the downtown nightlife for older adults and, college age. But there's so much to do for kids in our region that you just don't think about. We have, I think, 6 or 7 museums around this area that you can take your kids to and learn from and check out new things. Our library system does amazing programs for our kids. We have a terrific, outstanding park system through both the city of Lake Charles and the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. And then we have Sam Houston, which is a terrific resource for learning and playing and, outdoor activity, whether it's biking or walking, trail running, fishing, boating. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Not to mention we have all of our refuges, with Rockefeller and Sabine, and then the whole entire Cameron coastline. So, I mean, and then you go a little bit north and you have Kisatchie.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, we live truly in a special place that a lot of communities across our country do not have the opportunities that we have here.
Agreed.
And so I want to really turn this area, especially, you know, the city, into a place where families think of to go for vacation.
Sure.
You know, I've seen everybody on Facebook say, you know, oh, well, why build a children's museum on the prime property of the lakefront? Why not?
Yeah.
You know, like, why not want to attract families to this area and get them to stay and check out, you know, Lake Area Adventures and Sam Houston, and go down to Cameron and collect seashells and ride the ferry boat and do all the things. Even, you know, in Sulphur and Carlos, where y'all have the adventure, is it Adventure Cove?
Point.
Adventure Point. I wanted to say Adventure Cove, and I'm like, that's not it. But, you know, y'all have interactives over there for the kids to check out too. So there's just so many magical places. And I feel like Port Wonder is just like the beacon that attracts visitors with our silver curvy roof. And once you get off, like, I hope that it spearheads development across the whole entire lakefront, which I know is already happening with Crying Eagle coming.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's all the land to the east side of the parking lot that can still be developed.
Sure.
You will be able to very soon to walk from basically visit Lake Charles and the boat dock that was just built near the beach, all the way to the other side to Millennium Park and the marina.
Yeah.
So I see the opportunities for festivals and walks and family-friendly events year-round.
Yeah.
So would you say with all of that, that maybe Southwest Louisiana is like Louisiana's playground?
I mean, it
See what
came
you
from
did there.
somewhere. That tagline is very smart marketing. But no, it is. It is. I mean, and it always has been. I mean, it's not something new. It's just, I think that the storms allowed us to reimagine. And I'm going to even plug, you know, the Community Foundation with Just Imagine. Like, what can this area become?
Yeah.
And it takes investors having, you know, those ideas and putting forth the money and the time to make this place really shine. Yeah. We have the heart, we have the commitment, we have the people. We just need those special investors that can make it happen.
Yeah.
Our community is made up of a lot of just, you know, I don't want to say blue collar because that's old term, but you know, we have so many people that work at the industries, and we need people to invest in, you know, initiatives that get these families to stay long term.
Yeah.
And McNeese and Sewella are great assets. The education at both of those facilities are top notch. And, you know, I hope that my children grow up and want to stay here. I don't want them to move away to a different state where mama has to jump on a plane or take an 8-hour car ride to go visit my grandbabies. I'm not there yet, y'all. But
Same. My kids are only 3 and 2, so I don't need to talk about grandbabies yet. But I feel the same way. And I think most people do. You know, you've got all these kids about to graduate, preparing to graduate high school right now or college. And it's like, well, where are they going? While going out of state is great, and for your particular career path, maybe it's the thing to do, but you certainly don't want people to feel like they've got to move away, whether it be for school or for a job or something like that. You want people to feel like they can
to make their decision whether or not they want to, not have to.
Yeah. And I think Lake Charles in Southwest Louisiana really has something to offer. And I do, like you said, a beacon on the lakefront here. I think Port Wonder really is going to serve as an anchor.
Yes.
You know, along the lakefront for whatever it is.
And that was kind of our goal. And
Yeah.
the Children's Museum, part of our goal also was to expose children to what opportunities are already here in our region. in different fields of study for them to explore.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we've gotten a kind of sidetracked, I think. So apologies.
Walking into Port Wonder, let's talk about what they're going to experience.
Yes. Port Wonder is the name of the building that houses two special entities. Of course, the Children's Museum of Southwest Louisiana. We are on the east side of the building. And then we have the Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries Nature and Science Center on the west side. Both entities offer wonderful experiences that are all hands-on activities for people of all ages and children to explore and learn about the world around them. I mean, that was our main goal, was to expose them to what is out there. What can you be? What can you learn? How do these simple exhibits, teach you something that are real life activities and real life things that are around you every single day?
Sure.
So as you walk through the Nature and Science Center side, you learn all about our coastal wetlands, our bayous and our streams and rivers, the types of ecosystems that are found within them and how they change depending on the water's salinity. Mm-hmm. And so the first tank that you go through is the bayou tank, and those species of fish in there, are, of course, are all freshwater species.
Yeah.
So you walk around the edge of the building and you get into our Cameron jetties, and you learn about how the species of fish changes because the salinity of the water increases. And so in those tanks, there's some flounder and some black drum, redfish, crabs, sheephead. So it's a lot of bigger species that the kids can learn about that, of course, our brown water, you can't see those fish down there. So they get to see them up close and personal and learn about them. Mm-hmm. And then they also have some touch tanks. And then in the touch tanks, they have some stingrays and some little hermit crabs, starfish, sand dollars, other little baby fish that you would find along the coastline and in some of the little inlets and estuaries and marshes.
Yeah, really gives kids this up close. You can actually feel the stingray. You can actually, I think sometimes y'all can even feed him a little shrimp or something like that, right?
Yes.
That's fun. So Brady and I, obviously, Allyson let us come over.
Got a sneak peek.
To get a sneak peek with the kiddos, which really prepared us, I think, for this interview, but got our kids so excited about what there is there.
I think they had a 45-minute melt. I had to deal with them for the rest of the day while Jillian got to go back to work.
Yeah.
They had about a 45-minute meltdown that I had to cool them down from. They were so upset
They
to
didn't
leave.
want to leave.
I'm sorry.
They felt...
But that means that I've done my job. A good job.
Have done an excellent job. They absolutely fell in love with it. And that, and I'm glad
we got a membership too.
We already got the membership. Yeah. We've got it ready to go. But I think that's what's so exciting though, is this tour that we're kind of letting our listeners go on right now is the same tour that they got, where we went on the wildlife and fisheries side first and got to look at all the different aquariums with all the different fish in it and things that I had not seen before, right? So it's not every day that you get to see a flounder buried underneath the little, the sand kind of thing. So it just really opens your eyes of what's out there. And just a beautiful exhibit at that. Not just is it educational, not just is it cool to go look at, but it's an absolutely beautiful place to be. Yes. So then as we weave our way around and then you enter your side of the museum, the children's museum side.
Go into Lake Charles's version of Disneyland.
Exactly.
I like that.
That's it.
So, this project, we started trying to think and imagine back 15 years ago in a strategic plan that we did, with board members and staff of, looking down in the future, where do we want to be? We loved our Broad Street location. It served us so well. We moved there in 2004 and we were there until the hurricane. But in that location, we took the original JCPenney's department store and made it into a children's museum.
Yeah.
And so, of course, you can imagine taking an older building built in the early 50s and making it into a children's museum can be a little challenging, but it worked and it was great. But Port Wonder, we were able to start from scratch, from the ground all the way up, and just design it to meet our needs.
Yeah.
And so the restroom facilities, the bus loading area, classroom spaces for birthday parties and summer camps and workshops. And those classroom spaces are even going to be open to the public to be able to rent for different activities and meetings for different corporations, civic clubs. But we could not have asked for a more beautiful spot, for kids to explore our beautiful lakefront. But so you walk in and we were able to divide up a lot of our old concepts and make them new again in a gorgeous space. And so we divided everything up into 4 main galleries. And so we have nature, we have health, which we never really had before. We had elements, but not a whole health gallery. And then we have tech, which our industry partners have been amazing at helping us, sponsor and develop and fine tune to where they really got a lot of, educational opportunities in there.
Sure.
And then city. I mean, you can't have a children's museum with your classic city without a classic city.
Yeah.
I mean,
what is a children's museum without a grocery store for kiddos and their tiny little
and the
carts?
restaurant, which for some reason our 2-year-old Catherine was obsessed with.
Oh yeah,
she had Dada sit.
She wanted to serve him
cook.
food.
She wanted to cook food. Sit.
And that's the thing is, my kids are really young, so they see those things that they see mom and dad do, cooking in the kitchen or going shopping at the grocery store, checking out. Why is checkout a fan favorite of kids? I don't know. I think that's why self-checkout's so popular these days is because kids are just obsessed with it.
Yes.
But those are the elements that they just absolutely love. And what I love about the Children's Museum is that they can grow with it, right?
Oh, most
So
definitely.
right now they're toddlers and they're in love with, the grocery store and climbing on the fire truck and all that. But I know as they get older, the more involved in the, like you said, the nature aspect of it or the health and human body and learning about that, the tech side of things, I know that as they get older, this is still going to be such an asset that's going to grow with them.
So my daughter, of course, has come up there a few times with me to help and volunteer. I've had her unpacking the fruits and vegetables in the market and
put it to work.
Cleaning. And oh, yes, don't call me on, child labor. But it's what you do whenever you have a 13-year-old, almost 14-year-old. But she is, like I said, almost 14. She turns 14 in April. And she told me the other night that she actually really wants to have her birthday party there.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you serious? And she goes, no, Mom, my friends are going to love this place. She was like, I love this place. I still want to play. And I'm a teenager, going to 9th grade. And I still want to play at the Children's Museum.
Yeah.
But that was kind of one of my goals all along, is that I used to get so tired of people coming in and saying, oh, the Children's Museum is just for little kids. It's just a place to play.
Yeah.
And they could not be more wrong.
Yeah.
You learn something at every single stage of your life whenever you walk through Port Wonder.
Yeah.
And the Children's Museum side, I really wanted it to be geared not necessarily for the infants and toddlers and little ones. I wanted it to start more at the pre-K and go all the way up through middle school.
Yeah. I'm 34 years old and I was fascinated by it. So,
well, and we have exhibits in there that you can be in high school taking a physics class and come in there and learn about momentum and centripetal force and speed and acceleration and gravity. And you can test those and, formulate, all of the hypotheses and stuff and just really put it to use. And then we have, kind of like a little distillation column to where you can see sort of, what products are produced from refining raw crude oil with boiling and cooling and boiling and cooling, and how the products settle out on the trays within the column. And that's how you get things like butane and ethylene and wax and gasoline, jet fuel, all of the things, rubber,
all the things we're doing right
here in Southwest Louisiana. Yes. We have bubbles, and Sasol is one of our big sponsors. And one of the biggest things, that they do in the industry right here in Southwest Louisiana is they make surfactants that go into detergents.
Yeah.
And so you can sit and look at all of these different concepts and just say, oh, wow. And like we have a big Archimedes screw. You use an Archimedes screw whenever you are loading bulk products at the port or at a rice mill or any of those things, drilling for oil or gas, water. It's just the opportunities of learning about our region through the exhibits are endless.
One thing I appreciate is that I can tell that it was built by parents, because every few or so feet, there's a quick thing with a slide. There's somewhere to climb up, because some of the other museums that we've been to are great, but they have them sectioned off. And as the parent of a 4-year-old, he can't go more than about 4 or 5 minutes before wanting to jump. And so it's perfect. We're going to show you this. He plays with it well. And now he needs his quick go up the slide, jump down, slide, carry, and burn off that quick thought. And now he can do the next exhibit and do it the way it's supposed to. And so we did it, I thought that was so impressive and so ingenious in the way that it's designed.
Yeah, we have 3 climbers. We have one in the nature gallery. We have one in the tech gallery, and then the third one is in our city gallery. So, and then we also have a water cycle table, which teaches the kids all about fog and rain and tornadoes and whirlpools and water diversion. So
it's very cool. And in one of those, the tallest of those play structures, Brady, you got hands on with that, because our 3 and 2-year-old climbed up to the very top and then went, Daddy.
And they didn't want to come down.
So he had to go make them come down, and he climbed up to the very top of it. So parents out there, just so you know, you can fit. And the kids too. You can play too, and it's one of those places that I'm so glad that your 14-year-old is so in love with it, because I think that's what's so cool about it is it just spans every age. And like I said, I'm in my 30s, and I was fascinated by parts of it. I was upset that my kids wanted to move on to the next thing, because I was like, no, I'm not done playing in this section yet. I absolutely love it. And of course, coming from a news background, I absolutely love the news station where kids can actually sit down and read the news and be on camera. And I just think it's so much fun for kids to be able to interact and feel like a grown-up.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Do all the grown-up things.
They can read it from the teleprompter and behind, in front of the green screen, just like you do in the studio at KPLC.
I love it.
And we have a video game interactive in the port, Kids Port, sponsored, of course, by the Port of Lake Charles, where they can learn about the exports that go out of our port daily. They can load the ship and then go down the ship channel through the Gulf of Mexico, and then on to its final destination, whether that be Japan or Spain, India, wherever, like across the world. So, and then we have lesson plans that you can, access while you're there, and you can do them at home or before or after. We can have, extended learning outside of the museum through our website as well.
So mentioning that many different exhibits, which has become your favorite?
I don't have one. I get that question a lot.
Okay.
And I don't really have a favorite exhibit. I think just the museum as a whole is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to mention too that I've also had, people over the years of, I've been to it before. I don't, it was great, but it's the same exhibits. It is the same exhibits, but I promise you, every single time you come, you're going to notice something new or different that you didn't see before because it's just so much stuff.
Yeah, well, you were just naming some things, and we've been for that little preview,
and you didn't
half
notice
the things
it.
you talked about. We didn't see the first time we went, so I think that's kind of the beauty of it, exploring something new each time you're there.
But to me, what makes a children's museum a great museum is its programming. And that's one of the things that we really want to offer a lot of. In our programming, we're not going to just focus on young kids or middle schoolers or anything. Like, we are going to offer year-round programming for all age groups. And whenever I say all age groups, like even senior citizens.
Yeah.
We want to do yoga for seniors on mornings where we don't have field trips coming in and the kids are in school. We want to offer, new parenting classes. We want to offer, art camps and STEM camps for high schoolers and teens. I've even talked to a lady that is the activity coordinator at one of our assisted living houses. And she's like, it would be awesome, for us to bring the citizens on a field trip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes.
All day. Yeah. Don't be fooled by the name Children's Museum.
No, definitely
because you're not pigeonholed to that.
No, it is a resource for the entire community. Yeah. And I mean, I'm just really even talking about my side. Wildlife and Fisheries side, the Nature and Science Center. I mean, that applies to every age.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm just excited for the community to come out. We're going to be opening, and it's just, it's so exciting.
What are some of the long-term goals of Port Wonder? You talk about how to keep things fresh with the exhibits. Is there also room to add, 5 years from now, you're saying, all right, we want to change this up. All of those in play?
I have already started to think about, as certain exhibits time out just from normal wear and tear.
Sure.
I mean, it's just common in a children's museum.
That means it's being played with, right?
Yes, it means that it's a successful exhibit and the children love it. But just trying to think, like, how can we even make it better, or what concepts do we want to change this to that highlight something a little bit differently? Or, I'm already thinking, oh gosh, can I squeeze this a little tighter and fit in one more thing? Which I will tell y'all, every single square inch is built out. There is no room to add anything right now.
I was impressed at like how many sections, like you said, we saw so many, and then still you were mentioning, and I was like, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
and so that just tells you how much. And there were some things that were not quite ready yet for the public to see.
Whenever y'all were in, we were still working on some things,
right? And we saw nothing compared to everything that's there, and so very impressive, the use of space as well.
I worked with the design team and helped build all of the stuff and design it, and I still go in there. I'm like,
oh yeah,
I don't remember this.
Oh yeah, what's this? I think that's so wonderful. And this, like you said, I mean, the brainchild of several different, I guess, groups of people. The Children's Museum side, you said you've been working on since, for the last 15 years, talking about what's the long-term plan for you guys.
On Port Wonder, the actual project of Port Wonder, probably since 2018.
Yeah.
But just like so much research on the backside of like, okay, well, what types of exhibits do you want to offer? Sure. What concepts do you want to teach children about and highlight? So, yeah, it's been definitely a passion and labor of love. But, yeah, I mean, for the future, I mean, it's always going to be something that you have to keep up with the community, keep up with the times, keep up with technology, but just mainly always having a child at heart and being able to recognize how the world around them is changing and making sure that you still are able to teach them the foundations of life moving forward. That has to be center, or at least in my opinion, it does. But making sure that you keep up with, what's going on in this crazy world that we live in.
Yeah.
So it's so fast paced. I mean, I'm going to tell y'all how old I am, but I was born in the early 80s. I mean, my grandfather still had an 8-track tape in his old Ford pickup whenever I was born. So, and then of course, I was in the age of Walkmans, and then went to CDs, and then iPods. And I mean, now it's like everything's just, hey, Alexa. So, who knows what our children will have as our crazy busy world keeps on evolving. But the Children's Museum world evolves with it. So I don't know what the future holds, but hopefully it's a beautiful, engaging place for children for the future generations.
So tell all of our listeners how they can access you guys, how they can get tickets. You can actually get year-long passes, right?
Yes. So we, of course, have memberships available, but you do not have to have a membership to visit. We just strongly suggest it because this is a facility that you're going to want to visit multiple times a year. If a family of 4 visit it 3 or 4 times over the course of a year, you've paid for your membership versus paying every single time you come. And we're going to have year-round activities that change weekly and monthly. And we have a makerspace, which is our art room, that's going to have a weekly project for people to come in and do. We'll have our Tinker Lab, which will be a STEM activity that'll change weekly with different tabletop activities for the kids. So it's not something that's stagnant that, I went, 5 months ago and we had a blast. Well, come back because there's going to be something different whenever you come activity-wise that you're going to have a blast again. But so admission is $16 for the Children's Museum side, and your membership only counts for the Children's Museum side. You do have to remember that we are basically 2 museums within one building. And then Wildlife and Fisheries, their Nature and Science Center, is kind of like a state park for the most part. It is the first of its kind for the department's history. They've never done something like this. And so there is a $6 admission fee every single time you visit their side. But you can do it all on one transaction. We will have kind of a staggered time ticketing in place for whenever we first open for a while, just to help us control capacities because we want to make sure that we're not so crowded that visitors can't enjoy the exhibits.
And there are a lot of people that are excited about this who've been, waiting for this to happen.
So definitely go online and get your tickets in advance before you come. It will help us make sure that everybody has a wonderful time and that we can accommodate the interests and the capacities of what we are anticipating. This summer is going to be crazy, wild, but fun. I mean, so excited and ready for it. Spring break is going to be amazing.
Well, then let's wrap up with this one. I know with so much programming that you've talked about wanting to have and wanting to do, you're going to need volunteers and sponsors for all of those coming up. Definitely. How, what opportunities are there and how can people get involved there?
Yes. So we, of course, have a donate button on our website. If you are interested in being a part of our wonderful activities and programs, we have all kinds of opportunities to come and partner with us. You can reach out to us at info@swlakids.org. We will get all of your information and what types of programs you're interested in partnering with us in. And we will sit down and plan it out with our yearly calendar. But to find out ways that you can volunteer, we also have Friends of the Museum. You can sign up to be a volunteer and we can get you trained. We have some really great staff that we have hired within the past week, and they are knocking it out of the park. A wonderful group of people. They're so engaging, so excited to just be a part of this project. Go onto our website, swlakids.org, to find out information on how you can be involved, how you can visit, what we have going on. And then, of course, stay up to date on our social media. We have Instagram and Facebook. Make sure that you have us click to be followed. In fact, you even want to maybe put us like not just at default, but like as our priority.
Favorite you, yeah.
That way you always know like what program we have this week or next week, and you don't miss anything.
Well, I know my kids are excited. I'm excited for this. So I know that all of our listeners are too. Everyone in Southwest Louisiana, giving them something more to do in this beautiful place we call home.
Yes.
And really, I love it being right along the lakefront. It's just, you said it, a beacon there along the lakefront.
Thanks again to Allyson for joining us here on the show, but thank you most of all for taking time out of your busy day to listen and joining us here on the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please can you follow our podcast if you haven't already and leave us a rating and review. Also, if you haven't already, or a comment on like YouTube and stuff or Facebook, any of those places are also very much appreciated. We will read it, and I might even reply to you. Who knows?
Maybe you'll be so lucky. Of course, leaving us a rating or review, it helps us grow our audience and further share the unique experiences that Lake Charles and Southwest Louisiana have to offer. Go to visitLakeCharles.org/podcast for more episodes, advice on where to eat, and events that are happening this weekend. I'm Jillian Corder.
I'm Brady Reynard. Thanks again for coming to play at Louisiana's Playground. Sit you.